you can see him conflicted in his mind, and he's trying to resist this urge to kill and apparently to try and eat you. And he for a moment you see almost like this clarity come into his eyes, and he looks at you like almost asking for help.
Or yell out, "You need to leave now," and he's gonna cast command. So same spell save DC. He's gonna cast command.
Okay.
And his command is for him to run, like, so just to pretty much turn around and just keep running until he can't run anymore.
And he needs to beat a 14?
He needs to beat a 14. Well, it meets beats, so if he gets a 14, he beats it.
He rolled exactly 14.
Oh my gosh, Ez is not doing good right now.
So you have one.
No.
He's far enough away. You have one action left to try and keep him from actually hurting you. You can see that it's like he's just not there anymore, and he's been consumed by this need to attack you. And he just takes another step and swings at you almost blindly. He says, "Don't make this harder than it has to be."
So at this point, I would imagine Ez would see out the corner of his eye, like Graw is like pretty much right there. So as Graw's kind of charging, Ez is going to, again, kind of like with the Marauder, cast Minor Illusion to intimidate the man to essentially fear him and run away.
Okay. So you cast Minor Illusion, and give me an intimidation roll.
So
Awesome. Okay, so today we find ourselves in the moonlit Eldertwist Forest. We're in a clearing, and there's a community, a tribe of wood elves having a festival. This is every vernal equinox. They have what they call Spring Rise, and it's a celebration of renewal and balance and life returning after the grip of winter. And there's hunting parties going out, and people gathered around the maypole, and everyone is just really, really having a good time. This is one of the most sacred and joyful days for this small community of elves. This is kind of in the northern parts of the Eldertwist Forest, a pretty remote area. This community is, in general, unbothered by the rest of what's happening in Cresponte. They're pretty secluded and pretty happy that way. People know of these little communities of elves, but in general, they kind of keep to themselves and are happy to do so. So as we are kind of zooming in here, we see the elves all kind of in this clearing, and toward the edge of this clearing, we see one kind of younger elf. He'd be in human years, a teenager, kind of younger, just kind of sitting along the perimeter, a little bit more maybe introverted, enjoying the sights and the sounds, but not necessarily going out and dancing with everyone or anything at this moment. Ez, you want to go ahead and describe and introduce yourself?
Yeah, so along the perimeter of kind of where the dancing is going on, the music is playing, Ez is a little more, he's a little introverted. His mother's there with him, and you can see that he's tapping along to the music. He's moving his legs. He's tapping his hands on his knees. Like he's very much enjoying the music. He's very happy, but he's not out there dancing. He's not much of a socialite in that fashion. But he's very much enjoying the music and the time, and he's with his family and friends.
I love that. And so your mother, Lylan, she is someone who, even amongst elves, which are known to be just beautiful and radiant, she is known even amongst them to be particularly joyful and someone that everyone just really loves to be around. She just glows. And she comes over to you and she kind of squeezes your shoulder and she says, Ez, come on, you got to come and join in the festivals. We only get to do this once a year. You don't want to miss out.
Well, I'm having fun. I'm just, enjoying the music. And he's just kind of like shuffling with his bird pipes that he has, kind of like wishing he could play with the band.
She kind of looks at you concerned, and she says, "If you're sure, I mean, I could talk to the band. I'm sure they would love to have another person to play the music."
I'm not that skilled yet. I'm still learning.
Hey, look, and she points over, and there's one elf, even a little bit younger than you, and he's just kind of flapping on the drums and totally offbeat. And she's like, "Look, if he can be playing the drums over there, I'm sure it's okay for you to join them. Look, I'll go talk to them here in just a few minutes. You enjoy yourself here, but don't stay by yourself this whole time. And in a few minutes, I'll talk to them, and I'll see if we can't get you to go play some music with the rest of the group."
Okay.
You see her walk away, and it's just this moment is etched in your memory as being just so special. She walks over to a group of the other elves, and they're all just kind of laughing and having some drinks, and you just feel like, man, this moment, everything feels perfect. It's warm, it's joyful. All of your friends are here. Your mom is here. Your dad is not. Your dad hasn't been around for a long time, though, and any grief that you felt about him being gone, you feel it once in a while, but in this moment, that's completely absent. You just are happy to be here. At that moment, however, the wind starts to shift, and it's almost like the air around you can feel that something is changing. All of a sudden, it feels colder, and the air feels still, and it's like everything gets quieter, even though nothing has actually changed yet. And it's hard to put your finger on it, but it's just like the calm before a storm. Something is wrong, and the drums suddenly stop, and the music kind of falters, and the fire almost seems like it gets bigger, and then it goes out, and it's just dark, and you hear a scream in the distance, and you look around and you're not sure what's going on, but all of a sudden there's figures rushing in from the shadows with torches in hand, and there's fire in the distance burning the forest around you. Everything has changed so quickly, and all you see are these people. You've heard of this happening just as legends in other wood elf communities, but you guys always thought it was just maybe stories, and you would never have thought this would happen here. But these marauders are rushing in, and you see people running away and screaming and yelling, and you see a few even not far from you as they're running behind you and starting to attack people around you. What do you do?
Well, Ez would hit the deck. He would go to the floor or the grass, and he'd if there was a marauder that was heading towards his mother, he'd kind of like try to grab at his ankle and try to like stop him. Obviously, he's a child, but he's gonna still try. I mean, he's not gonna let someone get to her, so he's gonna try and grab one of the marauders by the ankle as they're like running past him as he's on the floor or the ground.
Yeah, so he's on the ground, maybe not as prized of a target, but his mother is an able-bodied adult, and he sees a marauder rushing toward her, looking like they're going to try and grab and take her. And so, Ez reaches out, tries to grab their ankle to try and stop them from getting to her, to protect his mom with whatever power he has. And in this moment, as you reach out, your hand just passes through them with like a purple whiff of smoke. As you try to grab their ankle, they just run straight through, and you watch as two different marauders grab your mother, and she just turns back to you, and she just yells one word. She just yells, "Run!" And you see her being dragged away. The purple cloak that she's wearing and that she's always worn. It's kind of this thing that whenever you picture her in your mind's eye, she's always had this purple cloak on. She's being tussled and pulled, and it gets snagged on a branch as she's being dragged away, and it gets pulled off and it's there on the ground, a little bit torn. But left behind, and all of a sudden she just disappears into the smoke and the fire, with you laying there on the ground with your arm outstretched. As you are maybe about to try and do something about this, you hear another loud noise, and as you roll over, there's a man kind of standing above you. Another marauder now you've caught his eye, and he is standing above you with his blade raised. What do you want to do?
Ez would... So, as knowing little tricks as a wood elf, nothing. I mean, he's a child. You know, he's not adept with magic by any stretch of the imagination. So, Ez would kind of put up his hands, but try to like make an illusion of like sparks to try and like ward off the strike, just kind of like last ditch effort to just stop. And then he just kind of screams stop, and he tries to cast a minor illusion to like, you know, ward off the attacker by distracting him with like sparks or something.
Yeah, I love that. So you put your hands up and you yell stop, and try to get him to leave you alone. Some sparks appear in front of you, and this marauder, this grown man, just kind of chuckles to himself. Oh man, I love it when they try to get away from me, as if a spell like that would have any effect on someone like me. And he is about to swing his sword down, not to kill you, but clearly trying to wound you so that he can easily take you and capture you. And then you hear it behind you. You hear this unearthly, almost primordial roar. It's not something you've ever heard before. You've heard of the people that go on these hunting parties speaking of things like this, and you've encountered great forest beasts once or twice, but they've always been friendly to you as wood elves. This roar is completely new and novel. In a moment of uncertainty, this massive purple creature steps over you, and you kind of stumble backwards, your heart's pounding, and it just smashes this marauder into the nearby trees, almost like a rag doll. He's just completely thrown to the side, and the bear, this massive sort of phantasmal bear, stands up on its hind legs and roars again. All of the marauders that are nearby see it and are immediately terrified and decide there's better targets to try to go after, and they run away from you. And after a few moments, what feels like just a few moments, maybe it was longer in reality, all of the marauders are gone. Every other wood elf is either dead or taken, and you're just left there in the clearing with this hulking, phantasmal bear standing over you, and just kind of breathing heavily and looking around, looking for anyone that might come back to hurt you. What do you do?
Ez would... I mean, he'd be scared. I mean, he knows of the creatures of the forest. He knows, you know, his mom tells him stories. His mom's told him stories of the so to speak whispers of the forest. So he's between a rock and a hard place. Like, okay, is this going to kill me, or is this a whisper of the forest? This is what my mom has told me in the past as to like what these whispers are. So he's gonna sit up. He's not gonna get up, because he also understands sometimes a creature, if you try to look big to it, will try to attack you. So he's still sitting down on the ground, and he's actually gonna just like reach out his hand, and he's gonna just kind of whisper but like project his voice to the creature. Are you a whisper of the forest?
I love that. It's like your own toothless moment. Um, so you reach out your hand, and the bear turns and looks at you, and you see in its eyes almost a familiar look, and it doesn't say anything, but it looks at you and it kind of closes its mouth. Looks now somehow much less menacing. Not safe, but you're not scared of it. And it's just kind of slowly breathing, and it reaches its head towards you, and it just puts its massive nose in the palm of your hand, and it steps up, and you just get this sense that it is protective. It is huge and it's terrifying, but it is protective, and it's here to protect you. And you can't quite put your finger on what this familiar look in its eyes is, but you at least have an overwhelming sense that it is not here to hurt you.
As would, in feeling that, kind of going through his emotions, Sapsi, he's like, he is rattled right now. So like he's got his hand kind of on the snout of the bear, and he's just kind of, he's crying. There's no way he's not crying. He's totally crying. And he just kind of like says softly, Graw.
Graw sits and looks at him almost as if waiting for direction. Now that the danger is gone, it seems to kind of just be content, and it looks to you. As you look around and you kind of get your bearings, the forest is still on fire. The marauders have cleared out, and the only thing that you see that was left behind is the cloak, that purple cloak that your mother had been wearing, and that she got caught on that branch.
As would definitely go over, he would grab that cloak. He would, that's one of his prized possessions at this point. That's the only thing that's keeping him kind of tethered to reality.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna take that.
Okay. And then as you are in this moment and you're kind of gathering your bearings, all of a sudden the whole world just kind of gets filled with smoke and light, and it kind of gets louder and louder and more intense, and you're just so overwhelmed by emotion and intensity and fear and almost a strange sense of comfort as well. And then all of a sudden it just stops and it's silent, and you jolt awake and you find yourself in a forest, no longer in that same forest. This is a distant part of the Eldertwist Forest, and it's many years later. You're still young, you're still a teenager, but as an elf, you remain a teenager for quite a long time. What would be
Right.
teenage years for an elf? And so it's been years since that moment. And this is a dream you've had many times before, recalling that night, that when that first happened. And so you wake up in a start, in a sweat, and you look around. It's early morning, quiet, it's peaceful. There's a creek nearby, and the birds are chirping. And you look over, and of course, Gra, your trusted friend and companion, is sleeping in a little pile of leaves that you had kind of set aside for him near the water. And he's kind of just restfully picks his head up, looks over at you to make sure you're okay. You want to do anything in this moment as you're just kind of waking up and getting your bearings?
Yeah, I think that, as being, a few years down the road, I mean, obviously it's still traumatizing. It's still, he's not in a good spot. Much better than, of course, the day of the incident, but he's still going to kind of like mosey around. I would argue he's way more comfortable with Graw at this point. They've been together for years now at this point.
Mhm.
So honestly, he would probably simply just enjoy the little that he can right now. And he would kind of
Mm.
like imagine like a couch. Like Graw's kind of like couch. He just kind of like sits back, kind of into Graw, and he just kind of like chucking twigs and rocks into the little babbling brook that's kind of like going by, and just like really trying to enjoy what has become a beautiful morning, trying to grasp some sort of good and trying to bring himself back down from that terrifying dream that he had experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. So as enjoying this moment, the little campfire that you guys made is still just a kind of a low burn. Gra is just kind of happily snoozing like a large pet almost, just enjoying this time with you as you're tossing things into the creek, just kind of trying to calm back down after, waking up from what was obviously a very unpleasant dream. Um, After a little while of this, maybe, an hour or so, it's quiet and peaceful, and you hear a twig breaking in the forest nearby. Give me a perception check.
Perception. Let's see. All right. Ooh, nice. Dirty 20.
Nice. So you hearing this immediately can tell kind of what you've become so attuned to this forest. You spent so much time kind of nomadically living around here. You know this forest like the back of your hand. If you're someone that knows what the back of your hand looks like pretty well, and you immediately can tell where that noise came from, and you know that it's not a normal noise. You know kind of the movement of all the beasts around here, and so you're on your guard. Do you hide or try to do anything? What do you do as you kind of get this moment of realization that some kind of intruder is here?
So, is there like any fallen like tree stumps, logs, anything that's like large that Ez could hide behind within kind of the near vicinity?
Yeah, there's going to be kind of a large boulder right by. In fact, there's a large boulder. It's along the creek or near the creek, and it's actually Gra was sleeping kind of up against it. So you were kind of over by this boulder already, and it would be right along the bank of this creek.
Got
So you
it.
could kind of hide behind that, put it between you and where you heard this noise coming from if you wanted.
Yeah, Ez would kind of duck behind this boulder. Graw would kind of be where they are, just and pretty much at that point of, kind of like an animal instinct of, am I going to start growling or snarling, or am I going to get on my hind legs and look big? That's kind of like where Graw is at.
Okay. So you've hidden. Gra is still out there. Your campfire is still kind of burning low, crackling. And you hear this stranger approaching. A man kind of stumbles out from the tree line, and he sees the fire and was drawn here by the smell of the fire. Figured that maybe there was someone here that could help him. The man, he says, "Please, is anybody here? I just need help. I've been walking for days. If anyone's here, please." And he collapses onto the ground. Not unconscious, but seemingly just completely exhausted.
Gotcha. Ez is going to kind of look at Graw for like confirmation of like, is this dangerous? I want to roll an insight possibly to gain kind of like, does this person seem hostile, or are they genuinely hurting and genuinely in pain, or just trying to trick Ez to get him?
Okay. Um, and so just so I'm kind of picturing this correctly, you're
Mhm.
behind this rock. Graw's kind of maybe on the edge of it, so Graw would be able to see what's happening and have bearings. But you're fully
Mhm.
behind this rock, and you're not. Are you kind of poking your head around to see what's going
Right, kind of
on?
poking my head around.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll insight.
That's an 11.
Okay, and then also roll stealth to see if he sees you stick your head out.
Okay, stealth. That's a 9. Oof.
Okay. So you look to Gra, and as you're looking and trying to get a feel for this guy, you get the sense that, as far as you can tell, he's being honest. He seems exhausted. He seems kind of sick. You don't have any reason to mistrust this guy at this moment. And he looks up, and as you kind of have your head low, but just barely peeking out, he, laying on the ground, looks over and says, "You boy, can you help me? I just need a little bit of food and water. And somewhere to rest, just for a day or two."
Ez is going to kind of like disappear behind the rock for a second. But then, remembering his mother and how kind, caring, compassionate she was, he's going to kind of like have to be strong. And he's going to come out from behind the rock, and he's going to have a little satchel of like kind of the things he's gathered that morning for like food. So, he's got some berries, mushrooms, things of that nature that, edible things that are going to be good for you, nutritious things of that nature, gifts of the forest. And he's going to slowly, very slowly, like obnoxiously slowly to this guy's perspective, like getting closer to him. And when he gauges he's about like an arm's reach away from the man, he's going to put down the satchel, and then he's going to like kind of take a stick and like push it the rest of the way to like get it closer to the man, and it's going to be like the food.
Okay. And is Gra just kind of hanging back near the rock as you do this, or is he staying kind of right by your side as you approach?
Gra's like not pacing, but like making a perimeter. Like Gra's kind of like walking around, just like watching the man. Okay. But not like specifically pacing.
Got it. So the man, seemingly completely unbothered by this massive bear, not looking at Gra at all, just looking at you, sees you push these helpful items over to him, just says, thank you so much. And he takes them and starts to open it up and starts eating a little bit of it. Give me a little, if you want to, you can take a closer look at him now that you're close. You can use investigation to get a better feel for what this guy looks like, what he's wearing, what he's doing.
For sure. I'll do investigation, and that is an 11.
Okay, with 11? No, that's fine. I think you're pretty close now, so this is not something that's hard for you to see. So even with an 11, you can see, as you look at him, that he's unwell. He looks basically like a commoner. He's got clothes on, but they're kind of torn and tattered. He looks like he's been traveling for days, so he seems like he's been honest about that. And uniquely, you notice he has kind of a strange... You don't know, it's like mushrooms are growing on him, and like the mycelium, like the roots of these mushrooms are spread around his body, and they haven't totally overtaken him, but there's just a few spots like on his shoulder and kind of on the back of his neck where you start to see these mushrooms growing. And as he's eating these berries, you can see him kind of scratching at those spots, and they're clearly bothering him. And you can't tell if how weary he is part of why he seems a little bit like he's not totally thinking straight, or if this is somehow affecting him. It's hard to tell, but he definitely, this is not normal for a person. You've never seen anything quite like this before.
Gotcha.
And while he starts to eat, he just says, I can't thank you enough. I escaped just a few days ago. I was captured, and I live in a small village, and my people, these people came and they captured all of us, and they were taking us to this facility, and they were going to put us to work in some kind of a camp. I don't really know. They didn't explain anything to us, but in a moment, I just saw an opportunity, and I ran, and I just, until this moment, I didn't stop running, and man, it was so scary, and I just am so grateful to have a moment and a friendly face. Man, I hope my family is okay. And he just kind of takes a deep breath, and he seems like maybe the first time he's had a chance to actually kind of breathe and think for a moment in a few days.
The camp thing is gonna perk, as his mind a little bit, and be like, oh, okay, maybe my mom has been taken to something like this. So as is going to, the first thing he says to the man, were there elves at the camp?
He says, at that moment, they didn't actually take us to the camp. It was like a sorting facility or something. They took us to this place. We were all blindfolded, so I couldn't tell where this was, but it was this place where they were looking at each of us, and they were kind of assessing our skills, and it was just my little village that was in the space that we were in this structure, and they were kind of coming through and assessing each one of us, and then kind of putting us into different rooms. It seemed like maybe based on what they saw in each of us. I didn't see any elves there. I just saw these people that had captured us, and the people from my own village being kind of sorted into these different spaces.
What did they look like?
The marauders, some of them looked like Asamirs and tieflings from the north. Some of them were humans. Some of them looked like tritons and sea elves from Velkora. It was this strange collection of people. All of them just looked so menacing and strong, and oh man, and he seems like he is struggling to talk about it because he's so traumatized from the experience.
But what did they wear?
They were wearing like these uniforms, and they all had this he's trying to remember, and he's like, the one thing I can remember is they all had this tattoo, a tattoo that looked like a lightning bolt on their arms. That's all I can remember. It all happened so fast. I'm sorry, I can't be more helpful. What? Why do you ask?
Ez is gonna try and recall if the marauders he saw that night had the same tattoos, if he was able to recognize any of the description of that tattoo.
Yeah, as Ez recalls and thinks back, one vivid moment, like those memories that we have that are like just photos of a moment in time. He can very, very vividly recall that as his mother was being dragged away, the person who had grabbed her and dragged her, it's like they had their uniform sleeves rolled up, and in his memory, it stands out so vividly. There was this dark lightning bolt tattoo coming all down this person's arm. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm gonna take that note real quick. Lightning bolt tattoo. All right, so that was of the same group. Okay. Ez is going to be hesitant to tell him why, just because he's still not sure of this guy yet. So Ez is gonna lie. He's gonna tell him, I've heard stories of marauders, and I've seen people moving through the forest, and I was just curious as to, if I need to watch out for them or not.
And the man says, "Well, can't thank you enough." And he reaches his arm forward. Says, "My name is Callan, and if you'll allow me to just stay here for maybe, or stay with you. I don't know if you're traveling, but just to stay. I just need a day or two to rest and to recoup, and then I'll be on my way. I promise. And he reaches his arm out, and you can see there's no lightning tattoo on him, but you do see some growths. You can kind of see like the mushrooms that are growing on his shoulder. It's like the mycelium roots are coming down his arm, and you can kind of see them reaching toward his hand as he reaches out to shake your hand and to kind of introduce himself more formally.
As would like stagger back and like kind of how to describe it. So he'd be standing during this conversation. He'd kind of like stagger back and kind of fall on his butt, and he kind of like shuffle backwards. And at that point, Graw would like go up on their hind legs, not like roaring or aggressive, but like up on hind legs, like am I about to have to do something about this? But Ez isn't gonna touch him, and Ez is just gonna like kind of hold himself in his cloak, the purple cloak, and he's just gonna don't I'm Ez. Just don't touch me.
The man, ignoring Graw completely, looks at Ez and looks at his hand and says, "Oh, right. Sorry, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this sickness is. It's been afflicting me ever since they had me in that facility. It's strange. It's only gotten worse since I fled and have been in this forest. Forgive me." And he covers it. He says, I've tried everything I know, but I don't know medicine. I don't know how to cure anything like this. I don't know. Maybe the man that I'm going to seek will be able to help. I don't know. Do you know medicine?
Your name is Callan, right?
Callan, and yes.
And you got sick at this facility?
I guess it was ever since I walked into that place. Everyone, all of my people, we noticed as we were there, we began to have these mushrooms grow on us. This had never happened to any of us. We've never seen anything like this,
And Ez, as a wood elf in this forest, has seen nothing like this in this entire forest. Up until
give
this
me
point.
a history check.
Okay. That is a 7.
With a 7, it's been very limited. You've heard little rumors from some of the villages that you've passed through, and you've seen little things once in a while that concern you. You're deep in the forest, and what you've noticed with a 7 is that whenever you start to travel closer to the perimeter, where people, anywhere where it's more civilized, so to speak, what people would normally call civilized, where there's people maybe harvesting trees or there's factories and things, the closer you get, you've noticed little hints of these kind of strange mushrooms, small creatures that look like they're kind of afflicted by some kind of strange sickness. But it's been pretty light, and you spend the vast majority of your time in the deep forest, so you haven't seen a lot of that. And if anything, the little bit that you have seen has just encouraged you to, stay away from people and civilization and kind of keep to yourself in the deeper parts of the forest that still seem healthy and safe.
Got it. Okay. And then he would ask and kind of mutter to Callan, you say a man could help me?
There's a man that I think could help me. When I leave here, which I promise I'll do as soon as I'm feeling, I just maybe have my strength back, I'm going to be headed to this town. I don't know if you've heard of it. I've never been there myself, but my parents told me about it when I was young. It's a port town. It's the major town of all the trade, and here in Cresponte, it's a town called Porto Luz, and I have heard rumors that there's a man there named Doc, and he has a tavern, and apparently he's just been there and knows a little bit about everything. And the rumors in the facility that we were in were that if you could escape, he has been helping people like me, escapees, refugees. He tends to provide a safe refuge and then direction from there. So I figure it's my only lead. That's where I'm headed. I'm going to see if he can help me at all. Maybe he'll even be able to point me in the right direction once I'm feeling better and I'm healed. to where they took my family, so I can maybe help get my family out of there. I don't know.
That's gonna be a huge like flag to, as he's gonna hear that, he's like, oh, Doc could help me find my mom. Ez is going to kind of again be a little more relaxed. He's gonna kind of want calm down a little bit more from after he reached his hand out to him. And he's gonna make a medicine check, see if there's anything he can do to help. I mean, Ez has been taking care of himself for years in this forest, and he knows the herbs, the plants, and all that around. I'd like to make a medicine check and see if he could possibly come up with something herbal wise to even help this guy a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, roll medicine.
Ooh, that is a 19.
Dang. With a 19, yeah, you go through your pack and you just have a handful of miscellaneous, leaves and berries and salves that you've gathered through your time here. Being pretty nomadic, you've had to find ways to, anytime you get bumps and bruises or sick, you just have a handful of things that you've been using to help keep yourself well, and so you take a few things out and you kind of mix them together and say, I don't know, if this is going to help, but you can offer this to him. You make a little bit of a tincture that seems like maybe it would be able to be a helpful salve for this. This is new to you, so you're not sure if it's going to help, but you think it at
Right.
least might help. This is what you've always used for anything that causes you to feel. It's kind of a mixture of, maybe it's got like some stuff like mint and stuff, like essential oils that help kind of clear your mind when you're feeling really groggy. And then it's also got some salves in it, like aloe vera type things that would help with something that feels itchy or that's bothering your skin. You're thinking this probably would help at least a little bit in terms of soothing what seems to be bothering him.
Ez is gonna, after making this kind of like concoction, I'm imagining like a carved out wood bowl or like a carved out stone bowl or something, and
Mhm.
he's gonna kind of do the same thing he did with like the satchel. And he's gonna like put it down and then take a stick and kind of like push it over to him. This is a salve I made. It maybe it'll help. I don't know, but it might help.
You see Callan, this whole time he's just been still so on edge, kind of his eyes just darting all over the place, vigilant, um, kind of tense, like he can't quite calm down fully. But he takes the salve and he puts it on his skin where these mushrooms are growing. And yeah, with a 19, for the first time you see him, it's like all the itchiness, all the tension, he just starts to actually feel relaxed. And almost involuntarily, he just falls asleep where he's laying.
Hmm.
Um, and so he had asked if he could stay for a couple of days. What do you want to do? Do you want to allow him to sleep there and stay and just kind of watch over him, or what do you want to do with him?
So Ez isn't gonna move him or touch him. So I mean, if he passes out there, he's not gonna move him. Ez is going to move off further up the stream, like a good 100 yards. Like he can see the guy, but he's far enough away that like if he's like started approaching him, he'd have enough time to like get up and dip, knowing that it's just a human. He could outrun him in the forest without any question.
Okay.
So he's gonna keep his fire stoked. So like as he's kind of passed out throughout like the night and all that, he's gonna like kind of mosey on over cautiously, just making sure that his fire is stoked, the man's is, and like that he's got leaves around him to keep him warm, and then kind of leaving bits of like snacks, so to speak, like near him while he's doing the same for his camp and Graw and all that. So he's kind of like taking care of two camps, but he's making
Yeah,
sure they're far enough apart that if the guy did do anything, he could skedaddle.
I love that. Yeah, so you're a little bit downstream. You've kept his fire stoked, so he's warm. He's not going to die or anything. But you're keeping your space, so you can kind of see him, keep an eye on him. You care, but you don't trust.
Mm.
So that all happened in the morning. The whole day goes by. You go about your day, kind of loosely keeping an eye on him, and then the whole night goes by, and you get some wary sleep. Asking Gra probably to keep an eye on this guy for you while you're resting.
Right.
And as morning comes around, the sun is just starting to come up. You wake up and you look over and you see the man. He's awake again, and he's kind of hunched over the fire that you've built for him, and you see him acting kind of strangely. He's like having a conversation with himself. Picture almost like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, if you know Gollum. He's like kind of having this conversation with himself, and he seems kind of conflicted, and he's like, you can't really hear him. You just kind of hear him muttering to himself, and he's holding something in his hands, and you sit up and you can kind of just see this scene happening. What do you want to do?
As is cautious, he would go closer to kind of see, because from a far distance, I would assume he just kind of looks like he's standing by the fire, like, and kind of muttering, but he wouldn't really be able to discern anything. So
yeah, it's still fairly dark, and he's kind of hunched down, like kind of squatting down, hunched over the fire. Yeah.
So Ez is going to kind of try and sneakily get closer to him to kind of gauge, is he okay? Does he need more medicine? Is he like packing up to go? But he's also like you said, his body language is really odd. So Ez would be like hairs on end. And Ez would look at Graw, and Graw's kind of like has that like guttural growl of like,
his hackles are kind of up.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would imagine Graw's hackles on the back of his neck are kind of standing up.
He's like standing on end. He's kind of got that like guttural growl of like, I don't like this. Something feels wrong. So as he's gonna slowly try to, he's gonna hide. I would like to, if possible, take the hide action to stealth my way, or not hide action. Sorry, I'd like to stealth. I apologize. To get closer to him, so possibly not being seen, but observing him.
Yeah, roll for stealth.
Ooh, well, thank you, Jesus. That is a 22 for stealth.
Yeah, so you silently make your way to a small, little outcropping of bushes. A little bit closer, you're kind of on a little bit of a hill. Or ledge overlooking where he is behind some bushes, and you're looking down, and you can see in the morning light and the dim light of the fire, you can kind of see him holding what looks to be a blade in his hands. It's a small dagger, almost no bigger than something you might use for spreading butter, but a blade nonetheless. And you see him turn around, and he looks back at where you had been, sees that you're gone, and he stands up and kind of spreads his legs out, and he's looking around almost like a scared cat, like trying to figure out where you went, and kind of holding the dagger up in front of him, and the firelight is reflecting off of it. And he says, Ez, where are you? Hello.
Can I, like, does he look scared? Or does he look aggressive? What is he?
Yeah, roll insight. You're pretty close now, so you can probably get a good look at his eyes, his face, and his expression.
It's doing good rolls. We're not anymore. That's a 4. That was a 4.
Okay. You have a hard time telling. You're looking at him, and you've also not spent a lot of time around humans in general, so you're having a little bit of a hard time making out what his expression is. It looks like maybe a little bit of both, maybe a little bit of fear and a little bit of aggression. It's a little bit of a mystery to you. You can't quite tell.
So Ez is gonna kind of clench his cloak, the purple cloak, and he's gonna kind of look at Graw, and Graw is still kind of sitting there making that guttural growl. But Graw's gonna be back to like where he was. Graw didn't follow him to the bushes. But he's gonna slowly kind of like make his way out from the bushes, and he's gonna he's gonna kind of softly, is everything okay? You don't need to be scared. I'm still here.
Callan turns to you and points the dagger at you, and he says, "Stay back. I don't know who you are or why you're helping me, but I can't trust you. I can't trust anyone. I can't be here anymore." And he looks very conflicted, and he's looking down at his small little pack of things that he was wearing when he came, and he looks like he's halfway between grabbing it and running and lunging at you. And he looks at you and says, "Look, I don't mean this personally, but I need food. I need something to eat. And you're the only thing around here I can find." And he takes his little dagger, and you can tell that he looks like he's about to try to lunge at you to try and hurt you.
Graw is gonna stand up on his hind legs and just roar, and is gonna start charging at the man. And Graw is gonna Ez is gonna kind of like fall back and kind of like putting out his hands, just kind of again yell stop. But in yelling stop, he casts Charm Person.
Okay.
So you need to make a 14 DC Wisdom saving throw.
So Callan rolls an 18.
An 18.
So he sees, and he, for a moment, you can see him conflicted in his mind, and he's trying to resist this urge to kill and apparently to try and eat you. And he for a moment, you see almost like this clarity come into his eyes, and he looks at you like almost asking for help. Just with the look in his eyes, and then it goes away, and he's back to his dagger, and he takes a step forward and kind of swings at you, and he's still too far away to hurt you. You're still several yards away, but he says, "Don't make me hurt you. Let's make this easy."
Ez is gonna say or yell out, "You need to leave now," and he's gonna cast Command. So same spell save DC. He's gonna cast Command.
Okay.
And his command is for him to run, like, so just to pretty much turn around and just keep running until he can't run anymore.
And he needs to beat a 14?
He needs to beat a 14. Well, it meets beats, so if he gets a 14, he beats it.
He rolled exactly 14.
Oh my gosh, Ez is not doing good right now.
So you have one.
No.
He's far enough away. You have one action left to try and keep him from actually hurting you.
Dang, Ez.
So he takes one more step forward, and he swings his sword again. And again, you can see that his mind was affected by this time much more so. And he kind of pauses, and he clearly is trying to listen, and he's trying to turn around and run. And then his eyes just go this like dark green, and it's like they're glowing, and you can see that it's like he's just not there anymore, and he's been consumed by this need to attack you. And he just takes another step and swings at you almost blindly. He says, "Don't make this harder than it has to be."
So at this point, I would imagine Ez would see out the corner of his eye, like Graw is like pretty much right there. So as Graw's kind of charging, Ez is going to, again, kind of like with the Marauder, cast Minor Illusion to intimidate the man to essentially fear him and run away.
Okay. So you cast Minor Illusion, and give me an intimidation roll.
So intimidation. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, that's should be good. Oops, as I'm shaking my desk, rolling some roll. I'm like, I don't fail because you're gonna die if you fail. Let's go. Hey, 21.
21. It was an opposed check, and Callan rolled a 4. So you succeed. So now, for the first time, Callan looks up and he sees Graw. He's just been looking at you this whole time, but then he looks up and he sees this massive bear, purple, towering above him, and he sees it just look at him and roar louder than any bear that he's ever seen roared before. It's like it's bigger and scarier, more intimidating than any bear he's ever encountered. And it's like it wasn't there, and it just appeared in front of him, between him and you, and he is terrified, and he falls back onto his hands, and the green is gone from his eyes. It's like he's been woken up from a dream, and he screams in terror, and he looks at you between the bear's legs, underneath the bear, and he says, I'm so sorry. Forgive me. And he scrambles to his feet, and he grabs his pack, and he says, thank you. And as he stammers and tries to just get his bearings, he grabs his pack and runs off into the forest in the opposite of the direction that he came from. So kind of continuing on his journey, he just runs into the forest as fast as his legs can carry him away from this massive bear that has just appeared there to protect you.
Whew, that was close. Sweating a little bit.
What do you do in this moment now that he's gone?
Ez would look around. He'd kind of slowly make his way to the camp. He'd put out the fire. He'd start taking the camp down to kind of like the leave no trace mentality, where if someone were to walk through here afterwards, they would have no idea that a camp was here. And he's doing the same with his, because in his mind he's like, I need to move. I cannot be here. So he's taking down camp. I would imagine, he's seeing Graw kind of help scuff leaves and scuff things around and whatnot. And he would
give
kind of
me a perception check as you're taking down camp.
Okay. That is a 14.
Okay, yeah, with a 14, you're tearing everything down, and the one thing that you do notice that just seems off is where Callan had been sleeping. You notice that there's a little bit of an outcropping of these same strange kind of iridescent, glowing green mushrooms on the ground where he'd been sleeping. There's not many of them, but it's almost like some of them fell off and started to grow on that ground where he had been. And you see a couple small creatures, just like a little rodent is there, and you're just trying to pack everything up, and it's there and it's nibbling on some of these mushrooms. And as you look a little bit closer, you see it's like kind of twitching and starting to act kind of weird, and you would swear you could start to see a little bit of like a greenish glow in the rodent's eyes as well. But as it sees you packing everything up and taking a closer look at it, it looks up at you, and as rodents do, it gets startled and it runs away and leaves the rest of the mushrooms there.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to touch those things. With a little bit of the fire that's left as he's kind of packing things up, putting stuff away, can you try to burn out those mushrooms and see what happens?
Yeah, I'll let you just do that. You put some of the remaining embers where those mushrooms are, and it burns the mushrooms away. It creates a weird, unpleasant smell. You don't like this at all. But they're gone, and it just leaves a black spot on the ground where the fire and the mushrooms had been.
Got it. Okay. Then Ez is gonna continue getting everything packed up, make it so the camp doesn't look like anybody was there. And then kind of the words from Callan are gonna echo in his ear about Doc. He has no idea. He's never heard of Portaloos. He has no idea. The only way he knows as to where it is he just knows of the civilization south of here, just because of his travels through the forest and kind of being on those outskirts. So, Ez is gonna kind of look at Graw. Graw, should we head south? Should we find this Doc? Is he gonna help us?
Yeah. Graw just kind of gives you a nod, a knowing, kind of gentle nod, and comes back down from being on his hind legs to being on all fours and walks over looking to you for direction.
And then Ez is gonna kind of throw his pack on his back, and he's gonna take his longbow and kind of like shift it over himself and kind of make sure his I believe he has a rapier. His rapier is kind of like situated. Again, you can tell these weapons are definitely his father's. They're not his. They're very large for him. And he's gonna kind of put one arm over Graw, and they're gonna, well, as much as one arm, obviously, over Graw, because Graw's huge. Probably more realistically, a hand on the side, not over Graw, because he's not tall enough for that. And just kind of like make their way through the forest to where he knows where about Portaloo would be. Obviously, doesn't know exactly where it is.
Yeah. So you, as you head into the forest, you just have in your mind, you heard this small clue, this hint. But the first hope you've had in years that maybe there's a chance, maybe your mom's not gone, maybe she's out there and maybe you can do something. And so you turn your mind and your body and your journey toward this tavern that Callan spoke of. This tavern owner, a possible path forward, just a whisper of hope in the mouth of this stranger. It might be a lie or it could be a trap, but the chance that it could be real hope and it could be a real clue to where your mother was taken is worth it to you. And it's also clear to you in this moment that this forest, your home, is sick. And while you've so far been able to kind of ignore it and just stay away from it, now this sickness has made its way into even these depths of the forest where you are. And you can't just ignore it anymore. So you head to Portaloo, and
I will say too, this is the first time that Ez feels like a sense of bravery or direction. Before he was just always scared, almost like that rodent, like he's just surviving, and then when he sees something, he runs. So it's like the first time that Ez is like, I'm going in this direction. I feel convicted, and I like a sense of bravery about him.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, so in this moment, you finally feel a sense of clarity and purpose after years of just wandering and not knowing what to do. You now have a direction. And so you head in the direction that you believe Portaloo to be in, with only a name and of a place and a name of a person to go off of. And for today, that is where we'll leave you.
I love it. Whew. Ez almost died session 0. Let's go.
I think if you had to go into combat, you could have probably killed a commoner.
Probably. But, I'm glad Ez
But
didn't,
you wouldn't have wanted to.
Ez would not have wanted to.
It was just enough to build dramatic tension. You tried and you tried.